Welcome to Gloria's Gab Live. I have with me today Claudia Lorant, and Claudia is with the founder, the CEO, the entrepreneur,
Creator.
visionary. This woman is pretty amazing. And she's with Quantum Omni
Omni.
Mindset. There's a mouthful. And we're talking about her being a Quam Queen.
Yes, the Quam Queen.
The Quam Queen. So before we get into to your story, we have to thank our sponsor, South Florida PBS. Sponsors us every week and allows us to bring interesting people and knowledge about what's going on in the community and the nonprofit world. So thank you, South Florida PBS. And if you have not yet seen Da Vinci Immersive Art Experience in Boynton Beach, it's running through April.
Oh, wow.
And it is something you can see again and again and
I'm going.
find something new every time.
Absolutely. It looks amazing.
It really is. It's quite an experience. And I have a feeling they're going to bring some more to us as well. So let's start with you. You and I met at the Miami the Women Voice Network board meeting.
Yes.
And I had no idea who you were, and you blew me away.
Oh,
So I'm so excited to have you as a guest.
oh, thank you.
So you are helping a lot of people, and I know you're already helping with the Women's Voice Network.
Yes, they actually recently asked me to sit on the board of directors. So I'm
Right.
very humbled and I'm very grateful
So
for
we're
that opportunity.
fellow board members.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. Yes.
But I'm not only a board member, I'm also a client. No,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just kidding. I have actually created a framework for transmuting trauma. And so what I'm doing is I've created a workshop that I'm going to be conducting for the members and for all of the women that the Women's Voice Network supports. So the workshop is to learn how to transcend and transmute past traumas, but it's also to enlighten the women into a more evolved perspective so that they can live in authentic lives, really and truly authentically living their highest potential.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a little background, because
Yes.
the Women Voice Network, for the people that don't know, economically empowers women who are victims of domestic abuse and human trafficking.
Right.
And you, in fact, have experienced trauma.
Yes.
And you tell us a little bit about your story about how you came to develop all these techniques and ways to help people.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for
Sure.
asking. So I am a multiple trauma survivor. I'm a survivor of incest from the age of 3 to rape a couple of times, family members. And so betrayal, obviously, in that sense,
Yeah.
and physical and psychological abuse. And so I've had 2 very traumatic experiences where a gun was put to my head and my life was threatened by one of the persons who perpetuated the abuse. And so at that moment, I had an out-of-body experience, and I've always been extremely connected, and I have a very profound, deep relationship with the divine creator. And so I always knew that all of that had happened to me for a reason. I refuse to believe that when something bad happens, I refuse for it to break me. So what I chose to do since the age of 19 was I began to research the thinking processes of the human mind. I began taking psychological therapy. I've never taken psychiatric therapy because I really believe in the power to go within to heal. And so I began researching quantum physics, quantum entanglement, epigenetics, neuroplasticity, and positive psychology. And throughout,
That's you.
my bad. I'm so sorry. I thought I turned that off. That won't happen again. So what I was able to do was create a 3-pillar framework where I took the best. I researched all the case studies, everything that my mentors and guides and teachers like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Bob Proctor, Gary Zukav, who I'm a member of all of their communities and I've learned from. I took the finest and the best modalities of healing from each one of these different segments of healing modalities, and I created the Quantum Omni Mindset, and it's a roadmap which consists of understanding how to connect to your higher self at the quantum level. And so basically, just to kind of explain it in basic terms,
Yeah.
it's a more evolved way of healing, where you're not simply healing your past traumas, because what ends up happening in life is that sometimes triggers will occur in people's lives where that ugly head of that trauma comes back, and it can really hold you back from living your highest potential. So I experienced that throughout my life and my healing transformational journey. So what I decided to do was really document all of the processes that I studied and researched, and I came up with this 3-pillar framework that basically teaches you how to align your subconscious and your conscious minds with divine frequency. And that is the key that has allowed me to find forgiveness in my heart for the people that have caused me harm.
Yeah.
It's allowed me the freedom to realize that it wasn't my fault.
Right.
And even though at times I've been in situations where people tried to hold what happened to me against me in order to manipulate me, by implementing this mindset shift in my own life, I was able to have the faith within myself to know that I was better than that, and that I'm not of my traumas. I am, because of them, a better, stronger human being. And so that's what I've decided 2 years ago, when I quit corporate America in cybersecurity. I didn't know how I was going to do this, but I knew I'd been working on this for more than 24 years, and I just did it. I quit working in corporate America, and I decided to focus on how I could use my story to be a positive impact and a catalyst for positive change in other people.
Well, it's pretty amazing where you've come from and how you've managed to take something that's so awful in your background and making it to something positive that is helping so many people. And I know you collaborated, or you got your first book that was a
number one best-selling. Yes. So actually, thank you so very much for asking.
Let's talk about that.
So The Gifts of Pain is a transformational storytelling program that was created by Dr. Elena Fernandez. And I submitted my story. I became a part of the Transformational Storytellers community, and she became my coach. And she taught me how to better communicate my story of trauma, not just trauma, but how I transcended it, and how to communicate it in such a way that it can be the most impactful to the audience and the readers. So I came in at volume 3 when my story was accepted, which the title of that is From Trauma to Triumph. And that became an Amazon #1 best-selling author through that experience. And not only in the United States, but also in Canada, and in 3 different categories. So I am eternally grateful to Dr. Elena Fernandez and her storytelling program, because it taught me, I'm self-taught. I'm an autodidactic polymath. So everything I do is self-taught. And the interesting thing is I've been writing for more than 24 years, but I never imagined that I would be able to will these people into my life, and coaches and mentors that would actually guide me through becoming a writer and using my story to help others. So what happened just yesterday, I posted, because I was accepted to volume 4 of The Gifts of Pain. So hopefully that's in the process of becoming a New York or Amazon best-selling book. Too. Yeah.
So what she does is she puts different episodes together.
So what it is, it's 31 stories. Different authors.
Yeah.
31 different, it's a compilation of stories that are put into a book, so that every day of the month, for example, someone who is struggling with getting past their own traumas, they have a chapter that they can read. And then after the chapter, there are lessons. And then it's like a journaling book where they can also use it as a source of inspiration to help themselves overcome their traumas by using other people's stories. So it's a compilation of 31 artists who have chosen to use their personal story to be transformation and catalyst for other people's success in overcoming their traumas.
Right. So what's your next step? Are you writing? You're going to write your own
Okay, so
your own book.
okay, so this is exciting because my next step is launching. I'm actually launching my first book, which I've entitled "The 10 Secrets to Attaining the Quam," and the Quam is the Quantum Omni Mindset, which began as a thesis, then became a theory, and now it's a full-blown philosophy. It's the next paradigm shift in human consciousness as a collective. And so I've actually, the first book are the 10 secrets to attaining the quam. And then the 3 pillars that I created are quantum omnivision, intuition, and perspective. So then it's a 4-book series that I'm in the process of launching the first one, but I've also created the resources and the tools for people who are interested in evolving into the quantum realm and truly finding and discovering how to not just overcome their past traumas or heal them, but how to transmute them so they don't rear its ugly head again. And so that is, I've created the courses. I've got a couple of, each book has a series of webinars, workshops, masterclasses, 6-week courses, and a 12-week course. So I'm actually in the process of launching my community, and I'm very excited. I feel very grateful and humbled to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. And how lucky the community is to have somebody that can provide that resource that obviously the Women Voice Network, the people they deal with, LEAP, people that what is it? Ladies Empowerment Action Program.
Yes.
They take people that are getting out of prison, women that are getting out of prison, many of whom have been human trafficked and have extenuating circumstances, and for you to be able to give them hope.
Thank you so much for bringing that up.
Yeah.
And I agree, because I think a lot of times to empower women who have experienced such deep, profound traumas, it's not just about acclimating them to society and giving them the tools to, know how to, write their resumes and maybe learn a craft. Unless they heal from within those traumas, they can have the most successful careers in business. But unless they've handled and dealt with and faced how to heal their own past traumas emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically, it's always going to be a stumbling block. So I feel grateful to have that part that I've created, so that I can also be a catalyst to supporting these programs, so that when women are healing and when they're transcending and they're evolving and they're becoming empowered, they actually have it from a full spectrum.
And for somebody to do that hasn't experienced trauma, what you do resonates with them because you've experienced it. It's not like, oh, you don't know what I've been through. Yeah, but maybe I do.
Exactly. That's a whole different level of empathy and compassion, because a lot of times there are a lot of people that are out there talking and speaking on things, and they're great authors and they're very successful, but it's one thing to study a subject and write on it. It's another thing to actually experience it and come out of it with a positive, stronger and more empowered and truly more enlightened. And for me, there's a philosophy or a saying that is so very common, and it is that there's nothing more constant than change. You've heard that, right? So I am of the mentality, and I take that a quantum step beyond, a quantum leap beyond that, because for me, it's, if there's nothing more constant than change, why settle for change? I don't understand. We are of the highest lineage. We are truly of the highest lineage. And the more we tap into that divine frequency, which is what I'm all about in my books and all of my work, it's the alignment of the conscious and subconscious minds to divine frequency. And when we realize that we can really and truly seek and live our abundant life as we truly desire by going in, then we understand that it's a process of getting to know ourselves, and that we don't need external power to be able to be empowered, because we have it within ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what a great message that is.
Yeah.
So after you do you do 4 books?
So the series, yes, my first series of books is 4 books. It's called The Quantum Omni Mindset.
And how long does it take you to write?
So it's a work that I've been working on for 24 years. So
what you're doing is you're taking
all of my research. And then it culminated, and thank God for AI.
Yeah.
Because what it did is I was able to input all of my research, all of my 24 years of research, and then have it organized for me, the chapters.
Oh,
So
really?
that, I mean, I've had the chapters written. Oh, and there's another book
Oh,
that I've
what's the
written,
other book?
but it's not a part of this series that I'm
Uh-huh.
first launching. It's actually entitled The Seed of One's Soul.
Okay, so we've got stuff up here he's
Oh,
putting up here.
yes,
Quantum
yes. So those are my
Revision.
books. Yes, and then that's the last one I've written, The Seed of One's Soul.
And what's that?
So that one is actually my my little piece of legacy that I'm creating that'll transcend my lifetime, because I didn't have children.
Yeah.
And that is a book that I was inspired to write based on Gary Zukav's The Seed of the Soul, which is what started me in my spiritual quest and my spiritual transformational journey, which actually led to me filming the entire first season of the first ever documentary reality style television show, which is currently airing on HBO Max and on Amazon Prime and also on TBS. But it was the very first television show that had to do with authentic stories of survival from 7 castmates who had experienced trauma in their lives. And they actually flew us to a blue zone in Nosara, Costa Rica. You know, the blue zones are designated by the United Nations. And so, and we did a year of a psychological therapy prior to being cast
because they wanted to make sure you're not.
We weren't suicidal or nuts, right? We weren't exactly.
Didn't want to have any suicides on the property.
Exactly, no lawsuits. So, but it was really exciting the way they did it, because they really weeded out, you know,
a lot of people.
Yes. And so they sequestered us for a month, and we went. It was over a month, and we went completely vegan. They flew in 5 healers from all over the world, world-renowned healers, to help us in our spiritual transformation. And so they even flew in 3 shamans from Peru. And one of the shaman was actually a female of only 2 indigenous tribes in Peru that allow female shaman.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
So that's just proof I've done the work. I mean, for 24 years, I've done the work. And so my whole point at this point, I'm going to be 58 this year, is to be an inspiration so that other people don't have to wait 24 years to get to what I had to go through to get to this point. This is like my life's hack. Here it is. This is the manual. This is how you can not only overcome and heal, but actually transmute your past traumas. And so I just feel so grateful that, because everything that has happened to me brought me to the woman that I am today. So I think that in and of itself should be an inspiration to others to realize that they're not broken, no matter how hard they've been hurt, no matter what trauma they've been through. That is a stepping stone for them becoming stronger than ever. And and I just feel like that's my message. That is who I am, and I'm grateful to be here to be able to communicate.
Well, sometimes you think, oh, well, anything that happens, it's not only going to make a good story, but there's always some, you always look for what good is going to come from this.
Right.
And you certainly have taken an awful start and brought some amazing light to the world, and hats off to you.
I appreciate this opportunity. So, thank you so much.
So tell me, when you were in this blue zone in Costa Rica.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that was tough.
I was going to say, okay, so was it cool weather there?
Oh, it was hot. It was
hot.
Miserably
That's
hot.
That's what I'm thinking.
And
was it hot?
Oh my gosh. It was very difficult and very challenging. They took our phones. We had absolutely no connection to the rest of the world. We had to tell our family that, you're not going to hear from us if there was an emergency.
They had a way to contact.
They had a way. They had all our family's information, but we were not allowed to contact anyone.
Right.
And so I really believe that was what needed to happen in order for us to really focus on our journey of spiritual healing.
Right.
Because unfortunately, I love technology, but it really has taken us away in so many ways from that
Yeah.
social connectivity,
Right.
interconnectivity. So that was an incredible experience because I mean, I would get up at 5, go to the gym, workout, and then we would do an hour of meditation. And there were different modalities of healing. They had a sexual trauma healer that specialized in Reiki, and they had a transcendental meditation healer. They had a Chrissy who Firemain. She is the head of a group called Mana, and now she's
Mana.
global. She's an amazing healer, and God, if it were not for her, and we're still in communication. She is still such an
And it's called Mana.
Mana, M-A-N-A,
Okay.
and her name is Chrissy Firemain. She is the founder of that community that has gone global in helping people to heal. They go deep into like Machu Picchu. They go all over the world to various locations to really be in an environment that is conducive to healing.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is truly one of my best friends and guides and coaches and mentors, and just an incredible human being. So I love her. I love her.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So that was a very that was an experience that I will never forget. On a lighter note, I had never gone vegan, so I overate tofu because I wanted a lot of protein. So I literally swelled up and broke out, and I had to go to the medic. Oh my gosh,
you're kidding!
Like everything that could go wrong did. And I was like, no, I didn't miss a beat. I did not miss a beat. I attended everything, and I just wanted to make sure that I was open.
Okay, so what was? Did they give you beans or something for protein?
No. Well, oh my gosh. Actually, it was filmed in Nosara, Costa Rica, which is the Blue Zone, at the Bodhi, Bodhi, a spiritual retreat. And so that entire retreat is there to be conducive to humans, to people's healing journey, spiritual, and their transformation. So the diet is all organic. It's fruits, vegetables, it's tofu. So you get plant-based proteins.
But no food, no fish,
no fish, no meat, no.
So how did you get your protein other than tofu?
Which plant-based protein.
What?
Plant-based proteins?
Like
they would serve meals
beans
and
peas and whatever. Yeah.
However vegans do it, I don't know because I'm not vegan, but I had my crash course. But all I know is I'll never overdose in tofu again. That was not conducive to my well-being.
Well, how good is tofu anyway?
Well, you can actually make it with like peanuts. I think it's with some nuts or cashews and a salt.
You can make it. You can make it taste.
Make it taste delicious. Well, to the extent that tofu can be delicious. No nothing against tofu, but just not my style. I'm definitely more of a pescatarian than anything. But now that So there's that story. So so now my purpose and my goal is I'm in the process of setting up my community. Whereby, and I'm actually, so today on April Fool's Day, I'm launching my website and I'm launching my first book, which I'm in the process of completing it so that I can offer it as an audiobook as well.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yes, I listen to like Audible, so I at least a book a week. So for me, it's so much quicker to just listen to it. And
well, if you're traveling a lot, it certainly makes sense.
Absolutely, it's just simpler.
I like reading.
Yeah, the old school book. That's why I'm also creating the hard copies. Yeah,
I know. Well, that's like people say people don't read the paper, read the newspaper anymore, and I go. Last thing I want to do when I get home is get on the computer.
You want to unplug. You want to disconnect.
Yes. I want to chill. I want to read the paper. And I was talking to one of my clients yesterday. She says, "Oh yeah, me too. Last thing I want to do is look at a computer screen."
Yes, and it's really interesting because one of the biggest questions that I've been asked after having filmed the television show, The Lost Resort. By the way, that's
The Lost Resort. Yeah,
The Lost Resort. Yeah. Yes. Is that they said, how could you do that for a month without your phone? Didn't you go crazy? I got to tell you, the moment I gave it up, I was like, it's in God's hands. Let's just keep it moving forward. And I got to tell you, it was the most freeing experience.
I bet.
Because it was just, there's a lot.
Yeah, but you know what?
That's associated with having your phone all the time.
I know, because people want you to do stuff.
I know, it's like you never have that.
You're
time
on vacation
just for yourself,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that I definitely am as a part of my program, to healing. I really, really, really suggest that at the end of the day, you don't even put your phone next to you, like literally, because all the waves that are been
Oh, they say
proven
that,
now
yeah.
that, but just put it in the drawer and shut it. And, I'm a huge believer and a huge catalyst for meditating. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things that I've actually recently attained my neuro meditation mastery certification. So I keep getting all these different
Where do you
certifications.
get this stuff?
I do
They're like a
research. I'm
I
a
was gonna say, they
researcher.
have different associations for different things like this?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, like I said, I'm an autodidactic polymath,
Right, yeah,
which
right,
means I'm
so
self-taught, but
yeah.
I've always had this incredible desire and thirst for knowledge and
Right.
wisdom. And
Mhm.
I'm like the forever student because if there's nothing more constant than change, then I want to evolve and
Yeah,
I want to be better than I was yesterday.
right.
And so with that mentality and that attitude, when you really are in alignment with
Yeah.
divine frequency, and this is one of the things that I teach and mentor in my programs, when you really are in alignment with divine frequency, all of the energies of the universe conspire to work with you. And then suddenly there's a ton of serendipitous situations that happen in your life, but it's like all your guardian angels working in your favor, helping you and showing you that you're doing the right thing, you're doing the work. And it literally, like, I don't know how it came to me other than explaining it that way.
Right.
And so, yeah, I've done the research and I've done the work, and it takes work.
Yeah.
One of the things that I always talk about in my workshops is that if you really want to heal, because a lot of people want to heal, and then they do they get into a program and they do it for a month and
Yeah,
then
okay, I'm done.
okay, I'm done. No, this is a constant daily effort that you put in. But the key is finding the strategy that works for your lifestyle. Because when I first started this 24 years ago, it actually took me longer to get through to where I am today in the beginning of my research, because back then it was kind of this one, like you had to like literally meditate for an hour. Okay, well, let me tell you something. I have severe ADHD, ADD, which is, I think just
It's a squirrel.
it's
But
like,
meditating?
you want me to sit there for an hour and not
Focus.
move
Back,
like
back.
this?
Yeah.
Yes, no, and that wasn't for me. So I really struggled with that. And so, but so what I did was I researched and studied people like Dr. Joe Dispenza,
Mm.
like Bob Proctor, like Dr. DeMartini, all of the well-known authorities in our generation and in the past that have talked about meditating and its effects and how to do it. I mean, now I actually do 10 minutes of meditation in the morning and 10 minutes of meditation at night before I go to bed. And I set my intentions. I get in alignment with my higher self and divine frequency, and I am good to go for the entire day. And if something comes up during my day that, because life happens, and, there's nothing more constant than adversity in people's lives at times, right?
Right.
And so it's not about not acknowledging it and not knowing how to deal with it. It's about acknowledging, understanding that it's there, and keep it focused. Keep it focused on the faith that nothing will ever be thrown at you that you do not have the power to overcome if you set your mind to it.
Right.
And you're in alignment. So I've created a different modality, different like programs for meditating that work really well for people like me who have ADD. So I do like walking meditations. Like when I go for my walk, I do my walking meditations. So I ground at the same time. And then the energy and the power that gives you, that just, if you want to walk for 20 minutes, if you want to take a 15-minute walk, but when you do the walking meditation, for those people like us, it's not for everybody, but for me, it's like literally taking what do you call it? A carafe of coffee.
Mhm.
The energy that
That
you
it gives you
realize,
so much
oh
energy.
my gosh, it's amazing. And then your creative juices start flowing. And I also become more focused
Mhm.
because, the ADD can get you a little bit scattered. But yeah, I just believe that if you seek help, you will find it. You just have to make the commitment to want it.
So your target market in a lot of ways are people that have experienced trauma,
Yes.
but it goes beyond that.
Yes, it does. Because what I've
So
done is
yes.
I've actually done the research and correlated how you can be the greatest leader in corporate America, but if you've got your own personal demons that you haven't addressed, that energy of not having resolved those past traumas will transcend into your attitude, and it will affect how you treat people. It will affect the impact that you have on other people in a negative way.
Right.
And that has been proven, statistically proven, that that is the case. So it's not just about me focusing on people that have had traumas for the sake of just healing their trauma. There's nothing more constant than adversity in life. We've all experienced it at one time or another.
Yeah.
But as long as we don't address that adversity or that trauma, then that will transcend into other aspects of our life. And haven't you ever been employed or had a leader, maybe in business or corporate America, that was a great leader, but a complete
Yeah.
a-hole, for lack of a better word? I don't know, but they're just mean and brutal and
I
very
have
dismissive.
seen people that have bosses like that.
Right. Well, that's because they
Yeah.
have hidden traumas that have never been resolved, and that's the trauma rearing its ugly head that I discussed earlier.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's about handling and dealing, it's about dealing with the trauma and addressing it and realizing that just because you've had trauma, it just means that you're such a incredible human being, because you would not have been given that trauma if you were not able to overcome it. And so a lot of people, for me, the paradigm shift here with my quantum omni mindset is really instilling and mentoring in people's minds that trauma is only bad to the extent that you allow it to be, because you haven't come to the realization emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, that you're better than that. And that trauma, it doesn't have to break you. It may have bent you and it may have hurt, but that doesn't mean you have to be defined by it. And so, it's kind of that mentality that is the foundation for what I teach in my writings and speak on.
You are such a wonder, really. I am so impressed by you, and I'm so grateful that you decided to come on our show.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you so much for joining me today. Our time is over.
Oh my gosh,
Like
well,
5
thank
minutes
you
ago.
so much.
But that's all right.
Thank
No,
you for the opportunity.
no,
Blessings, and thank you
no.
to PBS for being so gracious to also allowing you to have this. And
This forum. Right,
yes,
exactly.
amen. Thank you,
Yeah.
darling.
So again, thank you, South Florida PBS, for sponsoring the show week after week. And thank you for coming. Until next time,
Thank you.
make a positive impact on your community, be kind, and make a difference.
And go to www.claudialorant.com.
There you go.
Thank you so
That's
much.
great. You're welcome.